Am I guilty for protecting my sister-in-law who cheated on my brother? 2 years ago, our family was caught in a huge drama. My sister-in-law had a month-long affair with someone from her night courses. At that time, my brother was absolutely destroyed, and he wanted to divorce her. It was hell for almost 3 months, but he ultimately decided to stay married to her and work through it in counseling. I wasn't a fan of that idea, but it's his life. I think he stayed mostly for their kid. But I honestly think it's been terrible for him. Since then, everything has been miserable. My parents openly hate her now. She has stopped coming to family meetings because it's outright hostile to her. Their kid still comes around, but my mother often badmouths her in front of him. He's only 3, and it's confusing for him. My brother and I went on a road trip recently to pick up our grandmother and bring her to my parents' house for the holidays. It was 4 hours there and 4 hours back. During the drive, he started talking about the rules they have in their marriage now. Here's what he told me. My sister-in-law has to come straight home after work. She can only go out if he's with her. He inspects her phone every few days and can do surprise checks. She had to cut off all her friends and can only have new ones if he approves them. She has tracking apps on her phone and AirTags on her car, purse, and even in her running shoes. She does all the housework. Meanwhile, he has given himself a free pass to sleep with other people. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told him it sounded like he was punishing her, not rebuilding their marriage. He shrugged it off and said she deserved it for what she did. I asked him if he even loved her anymore or if he hated her, because from what he was describing, it sounded like he stayed married just to make her life miserable. He got defensive and told me I didn't understand what it was like to be cheated on. But I do. I've been cheated on and it was devastating. I separated. And now I'm happy because I didn't want to live in misery with someone I couldn't trust. I told him he wasn't just making her miserable. He was making himself miserable too. He's poisoning everything for both of them, and their child will be stuck in the middle. I asked him if he would prefer to separate, co-parent, and move on to find someone he could actually trust. I said it would be better than living in this constant resentment. He didn't want to hear it and said I should mind my business. When we got to my parents' house, I asked to speak with my sister-in-law privately. I wanted to see if she was okay because this sounded awful. She broke down crying and admitted she feels trapped but is staying for their son. She begged me not to tell anyone, so I promised I wouldn't. Later, my brother found out we had talked and he got furious. He accused me of protecting her and interfering in his marriage. My parents agreed with him and said I should have stayed out of it. They think she deserves everything she's getting for what she did. I feel like this is so toxic for everyone involved. No one deserves to live like this, not even someone who made a bad choice/decision. Their son is growing up in the middle of this disaster. I just don't see how this is good for anyone. Am I in the wrong for saying something? Should I have stayed out of it? Edit, not an update. I've read some of the responses, and I see that many people believe my sister-in-law deserves this because she cheated. I understand why people feel that way. Cheating is not a simple mistake. It is a deliberate series of decisions someone makes, knowing full well the harm it will cause. It is a betrayal of trust and a violation of the foundation of a relationship. What my sister-in-law did was completely wrong, and the pain she caused my brother is undeniable. Even when we acknowledge how serious her actions were, I think it is important to ask whether the response is proportionate. At what point does holding someone accountable for their actions cross the line into punishment that goes too far? Is it justified to control every aspect of someone's life indefinitely because of their betrayal? Does one series of terrible decisions mean they deserve to lose their autonomy and live under constant surveillance? Punishment and accountability are not the same. Punishment focuses on revenge and making someone suffer. Accountability is about addressing the harm, rebuilding trust, and creating space for healing. What my brother is doing feels much more like punishment than accountability. There is a difference between healthy boundaries and excessive control. Healthy boundaries might include open communication, setting clear expectations, and working together to rebuild trust. What my brother has done is create a dynamic where one person has all the power and the other has none. That is not healing, and it is not a foundation for a strong relationship. It is a cycle of resentment and control. When I was cheated on, I did a lot of thinking. At first, I wanted my ex-partner to suffer. I fantasized about revenge every day. I would make up scenarios in my head about ways to sabotage his life and make him as miserable as I was. But the truth is, I was the one who was miserable. Holding on to that anger only hurt me more. Letting go did not mean forgiving my ex or saying what he did was okay, but it allowed me to move on and focus on building a better future for myself. If my brother truly cannot forgive my sister-in-law, that is his right. But staying in this marriage just to punish her is not helping him heal. It is keeping him in the same pain and resentment I felt. It is not just affecting her. It is affecting him, their child, and everyone around them. This is not accountability, and it is not about rebuilding trust. It is about control, and it is creating an environment of anger and bitterness that helps no one. I ask again, where is the line? At what point does addressing harm become a way to perpetuate it? Does anyone truly benefit from living in this kind of misery? If my brother wants to move forward, whether with her or without her, he needs to think about what that looks like in a way that actually heals instead of keeping everyone stuck in the past.
Let's listen to some comments from the community and answers from the author before the end of the video.
Not guilty. Your sister-in-law needs to move forward with divorce, and brother needs to move and forgive her for his own mental health and his son. Maybe everyone could prioritize the child who will end up being the final victim of this mess.
I don't think he has to forgive her, but he has to let go. He is also only hurting himself. Like one day he is going to wake up and hate her even more because he spent his life hating her.
Both are idiots. She could also ask for divorce and move on. This way all the lil son learns is what mistrust, resentment, hate in a relationship means. And you're right, he is also punishing himself. He'd rather live in hate than moving on and find peace and happiness, and his hate will follow their son's life. We all know that parents are the main cause of all the trauma in the adult life. Everyone who goes to therapy figures out that their issues lie mostly in their childhood. And your parents also add to the boy's conflicted view of women. How will the boy respect women when all he sees is that they deserve to be punished? And even when you don't fight in front of the kids, enough studies have shown that kids can feel the thick air. He is destroying his son by staying in this environment. But yet let's live in the illusion that living with a person you hate is better for the child than living in peaceful households.
Yes, she definitely could. But she is also a coward. Or else she would not have cheated. However, I do not know how safe my brother is at the moment. It would not surprise me if he had held something over her head, like child custody or something like that. She would not say more but hinted strongly at that. But I don't think I can quite believe either of them. They should just end things. Thank you for listening to this story. Let me know in the comments if you agree with the community. What would you have done in that situation? And for those who stayed to the end, thank you. If you like this type of content, feel free to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you soon.